Hello and welcome to 1111 True Crime. Mama D coming at you in the house. You guys, we are going to do another deep dive into Jay Slater's case. New information has come out, and it comes first from Little Miss Vodka. So Little Miss Vodka is showing, not only sharing, but showing the receipts for what I'm about to tell you. This individual is alleging, not Little Miss Vodka, somebody that was at the rave, okay? They are alleging that they bought rugs from Lucy, and Lucy didn't want the money from them, but rather told them to put it into an account, and it needed to be digital. So the person put the information into the account, but the name Lucy or any other name did not match. The only name that matched was Jay Slater. So then Little Miss Vodka shows that she tests this theory out to see if she could make a transaction on that account information that this individual provided. And the only name that worked, that said was a match, was Jay Slater, which is quite shocking. Hats off to Wax Unfiltered for helping us to understand what the process would be where the money would go to Jay. They would have to have someone that had a clean account. Wouldn't, as an apprentice bricklayer, wouldn't you be a prime candidate because you are part of the union? That's a big bona fide star on your bank account, is that you're part of the union. You have a lot of protection. Jay does make the prime candidate. And Wax went through a very detailed report showing how this scheme would have worked. Person selling product, okay, whatever product they're selling at the festival. And then the purchaser would be putting the money in many different accounts. We have an issue. Remember, Lucy's the one that said, I don't know how I effed up, but I effed up, over and over. Rachel said, Lucy effed up. The ransom note, and that's what I'm going to call it, because in my opinion it was, that was sent to Debbie, suggested, Lucy, we want that money. We want that $30,000. It also, in that ransom note, suggested Lucy was our distributor and knew who they were. So what is Lucy distributing? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is she's always selling what? Energy tickets. Does she work for the energy owners? That is a very big question, right? There is absolutely no proof, seriously, that Jay Slater was ever in Masca on that Sunday at all. You could say, well, Warren said that was Jay on that video. When was that timestamp on that video? We don't have it, because that most likely took place on Saturday when everything was hunky-dory. In fact, Leggy himself was quoted as saying that the dogs were never where Jay was. Well, the dogs went to the Airbnb, but you're right, Leggy. They never did pick up Jay's scent. The only time Jay's scent was picked up in Masca was after his body was discovered, not before, even though they were using items of Jay's to track him. Now, if you've watched Duncan Smith on Duncan Yet Again, he suggested that the bank account could have been frozen. So in other words, the bad guy has no access, if that account of Jay's is frozen, to his own money that the distributor, allegedly Lucy, has been routing all the funds to from all the sale of the product at the festival. Rumor has it that Lucy's had issue in the past and that she's walking on thin ice with her distributor. So, if this did happen, that this money scheme has went south and Jay's account is actually frozen, I logically, and I think a lot of you too, would assume that the bad guy is going to realize that Jay is the only one that's going to be able to ever access his account. And so he would be taken. As I said, we have no proof of life at Masca for Sunday, as there is no timestamp on anything. And Jay's not ever seen on anything that we know of outside of the club, which makes me think and remember of this witness.
Ask him about the Airbnb thing. People are asking in the comments, like, is that true? Was he up there? What?
Day before. It was the day before, because they accessed his phone.
It was the day before he was at the B&B.
The day before. It's all, you can't see time and date. Snapchat done. There's nothing to prove it. The day he went missing, he got killed off.
So the day he went, and the day he was killed.
You can tell Laura now, because I said to her, you research, and she texted me probably 11 o'clock, well, it's 11 o'clock English time, 12 o'clock here. Is this the video? I said, yeah. You go on his profile, you ain't getting nothing.
No.
The profile's gone. So, you know.
And what's the movement like on the ground now that the search has been called off?
Mate, I spoke to Laura live. She had the chat. She was live.
The same, yeah, when he come off the aeroplane coming home, wasn't it? He ended up in this live. That's how I met him.
Laura texted me saying, oh, this post has been up. She texted me on Wednesday. Well, yeah. The whole situation's fucked up. It's weird. I've been main beach today. Nothing's going on. Everyone's on the beach. And I look at these. People are sitting on that beach, man. There's something happened on that beach. Why are people...
Did he get stabbed on the beach, or was it outside the club?
Outside the club, so
What's the language? What's the language, Shelley?
It's happened at the club outside, and then he's been taken away on a shoulder of somebody else and whisked off, basically.
Right.
You see, there's a video I've got. He's in between someone's shoulder, and they're not black, not white, but dirty, dark colour.
Then the question is, did Lucy purposely set Jay up to save her own hide as a scapegoat? Remember the beach video. You said he wouldn't get stabbed. Oh, Jay. Oh, Jay. Trick train coming through. When somebody says you said he wouldn't get stabbed, to me, that's premeditation of a plan that went awry. We have proven without a shadow of a doubt that that is Los Cristianos Beach, right directly behind Lucy's apartment. Now, the docks are right there with plenty of ships and boats. And that ransom note, as I'm calling it, alleged that Jay was being moored on a boat. If this did indeed go down right outside of the club, then it makes sense that the Burnley lot would have found Ahab, right, to go up to Masca, as I and others have suggested, as a hideout. Ophelia, claiming to see Jay, may have in fact actually seen Brad. If you listen to Haley comment, she was given a story that all of the Burnley lot headed up to Masca, but actually Brad got cold feet, pretended he had to pee, got out of the car in a tunnel, and ran all the way back to the motel. However, what if he didn't walk home from there, but actually was on the road walking back from Masca? But I suggest that it is possible that Brad made it all the way to Masca and played the role of Jay Slater. That could be the thumb picture of the cigarette on the stoop, because it would be very possible that Brad still had Jay's bag. Remember, in that ransom note, Lucy, we want that bag. And it was Rachel herself suggested to Warren that Brad's bank card could be found on the path that Jay walked Could Brad have lost his bank card while pitching Jay's phone? Which would mean Brad would be the one walking on the road that Ophelia saw, right where Jay went missing. We all know that Brad is a smoker, and we also know that Ahab claimed to have given Jay Slater a cigarette as well, but he claimed it was a Camel. That was not a Camel cigarette in that photograph, because Camels don't have a filter. The cigarette in that hand has a filter. Now, it's been claimed several times by multiple individuals that Jay had no money, including Ahab, stating that he had to loan him a $5 to buy a kebab, which I believe it would have had to taken place on Saturday, because Jay was in no condition to eat anything on Sunday night. So, if we go back and think about that, was Jay's account actually known to be frozen by Saturday night? And if that is the case, it would definitely allow time for a premeditation setup for Lucy to find a way to create Jay as the scapegoat. Perhaps in an attempt to get out of this debt that Lucy owed, she got somebody to steal a watch, or she did, in hopes to sell it and quick sale, quick money, pay off some of this debt. And then that was pinned on Jay to deter people from searching for him. I mean, she gave the wrong description of the clothes he was wearing in the missing posters. She didn't even tell his mom. Debbie's the one that said, "Why didn't she ring me?" So if this theory is correct, and this anonymous witness that claims to have seen Jay stabbed outside of the club and whisked away on the shoulder of two men has any merit at all, then it would suggest that the reason Brad's card could be in Masca is because he was the one with Jay's phone, playing Jay's role, and ditched Jay's phone at that last ping effort. There were never birds or any animal, wildlife that suggested that Jay's body was in Masca. No searchers saw him. In fact, no one ever saw Jay in Masca but Ophelia and Ahab. Ahab's in it way over his head. We all know that. Not credible. And Ophelia didn't even know what Jay looked like. Could she tell Jay and Brad apart? I don't know. I don't think so. Not only is there no evidence in Masca of Jay ever being there, other than his body being found in the ravine, there's absolutely no evidence at all that Jay left any further than the door to Papagayo's, just like this anonymous witness says that claimed he had footage of Jay being stabbed and whisked away over someone's shoulder. Abe's the one that claimed if it weren't for Jay's friends that he would be in prison until he could prove he was innocent. And he's also stated that Brad is a hero. Sure, Brad gave you an alibi, right? If Brad used that phone of Jay's and then ditched it up there in Masca, he would be your hero. Not only does Brad have on the same shoes that appear in the snap with the cigarette on the stoop of the Airbnb, he also never went to look for Jay. Why? Had he already been there and been the one that knew damn well he was the one that was in Masca? Why would you look for yourself? Remember Rach with Warren as they're searching for Jay out in the Tenerife Mountains there at Masca? How she referred several times to Brad's map? If this theory is true, that the anonymous witness is correct and that Jay was stabbed and grabbed outside of the club on Sunday night, and that the Burnley crew all went up to Masca to hide out, okay, it's now Monday morning and you have no Jay. What are you going to tell his family?
I don't want to change anything. I just drive myself insane thinking about. I think she ringed me straight away. She was that worried. She was ringing the police at that point. Why did she ring his mum? Because she knows that the bonds that me and Jay, she knew the special bond that me and Jay have.
Remember Rachel's text messages where she's alleging that they need $30,000 by Monday? That she knows where Jay is, but if she tells, she'll get took too? Says Lucy, this from the start. It was a stupid decision in a drunken environment. I want Jay home too. She messed up and people are finding out. Goes on to say it's all going bad. She needs to hurry up and transfer that GoFundMe money to pay. Then Jay can come home. I need her to hurry. Let's see what else it says. I hate seeing him like this. I know where he is, but can't tell anyone this. No. Then I will get took. We need 30,000 by Monday. Which goes right along with this, which says I have Jay Slater with me. I need this 30,000, a specific 30,000, not just I need a 30,000. I need 30,000, but this 30,000. Which goes right along with the urgency and how quickly that GoFundMe is started. For what amount? 30,000. And the timing exactly of what Crispy says. He's like, we need to get the Guardia Civil back on land as if they were out in the water. That's interesting because we have all this talk about a boat and being moored and so forth. Were they looking in the boats for Jay? And Crispy was like, ooh, we got to get him back over to Masca or something. At that same time, if I recollect correctly, Brad was mistaken to be Jay. And the entire search of the Guardia Avocados up in Masca left the mountains and went to follow the trail that led them back into the Los Cristianos area. And it turned out to be Brad, who had told Isla, the interview, all about it. The timing, again, Brad, the decoy. Or if you're Ahab or Lucky, or happen to be the one that has Jay moored somewhere and they're getting too close, looking into boats, then Brad just became the hero. Makes me wonder if Jay was taken indeed right outside the club. And yeah, that would make him missing. You would file the paperwork. However, you couldn't tell him the truth if you're the reason, because you would go to prison, not only for the product you were selling, but also for the scam you were pulling. And it would lead right to your boss because you're their distributor. Will we ever actually get justice for Jay Slater? I pray we do. I truly do. I do feel we're getting closer to the truth, and that's very, very important. I hope you will continue on with me. We are jumping over to now, after the video is done, we're going to jump over to a live where you can share your thoughts, opinions, theories about everything we covered today and more. All right, I will see you there, my lovely. And great way to support the channel, I humbly thank you for a solid, is to hit that like button. It just means the world to me. It helps the channel grow and is free to you. Appreciate it so much, and I will see you again if you're going over doing the time warp with me over on the other channel, Mama D and Family. I will see you in just a few minutes.